Fan Zone show. We're talking about things that smart Disney World vacationers and guests always do that you might not know about, or maybe you do. And we're going to get into that shortly. First, I want to let everybody know there is no news tonight. Jess is on assignment, so she'll have a bunch of news for us next week. All right, so let's get into it. First, I'm going to introduce. We've got John, Kurt, Darlene, Lottie, and myself, Stuart. This is the WDW Fan Zone show. Our preferred travel planner is Mouse Fan Travel. So if you want to go to Disney World, Disneyland, take a Disney cruise, an adventure by Disney, or another kind of vacation, they can do it all for you. And all you've got to do is find out what they've got to offer for you, because they're going to do things your way, the right way, the only way, is by going to www.mousefantravel.com. That's www.mousefantravel.com. All right, so it's Darlene and I live down here in Florida now, so we're not vacationing there anymore. We're going to the parks. So it might be a little more difficult for us to come up with things that smart people do. But I can think of somebody who's very smart amongst the group. And I'm talking about Lottie. No, everybody's smart here. That was a little bit of a joke. But Lottie, I know you've gone on solo trips with your family, trips with larger families. So you've seen Disney from every single aspect you possibly could. Like, what's the number one thing you can think of that most people don't know about that they can do at Disney to make it a better vacation?
Stay hydrated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stay hydrated. I remember being at Epcot, and I was near Morocco, and there was a mom that was in the bathroom, and she was screaming for help. Her kid had a heat stroke. And it's just as simple as there are so many places where you can get free water. Just fill up the cups, keep your water bottles filled. Kurt told me about a long time ago about taking a filtered water bottle because the water there sucks. But just don't ruin your vacation by not staying hydrated. Just smart people drink their water the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Stuart, you're muted.
Oh man, that means we can take over the show.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
So Stuart has to reset because obviously he's having microphone issues again. So here he comes back in.
Well, while he's coming back in, I did want to add, so I like Lottie's idea of being hydrated, but something to remember is you can bring, and to be smart people, bring their own drinks in with them. Or they have, like you talked about, the filtered water bottle or regular water or whatever your family likes to drink, and then you have it with you. So it's harder to get dehydrated if you've got it with you all the time.
And something
non-alcoholic.
Something else you can do, and I know they tried stopping it at one point, but some places are still doing. You can ask for a cup of ice water.
Yeah, everywhere.
Yes.
I've never been about asking for a cup of ice water.
They did.
I haven't either.
Yeah, they did stop it at some places during COVID, because I know I was with somebody who was told no, they couldn't do it anymore, and it was one of the kiosks, but I don't remember where.
I know one of the hot days I was just recently at the park, and they were standing outside Regal Eagle area handing out cups of water on trays. So,
we had a very hot summer down here. I mean, I didn't go to the parks all the summer because of the heat.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, the temperature right now is actually still, I think it was like 80 degrees. So
it's 82 here right now where I am.
Yeah, I'm at 80.
Yeah, and I'm not, we're both not that far from the parks. So it just depends on where you live. But it was an unusually rainy on and off day here in Central Florida. And very humid too. We haven't seen the humidity levels like today in quite a while, like the last few weeks or so. But
my husband said when he went out this morning, You walk out and you're wearing your glasses, and it's weird to have them all fog up on you.
Yeah.
You can't see where
Speaking
you're
of fogging
going.
up,
Contacts. That's why I wear contacts.
well, speaking of fogging up, let's get back to the parks.
So I want to say, and I say this at the end of every podcast, smart people put sunscreen on
Mhm.
and don't skip your children.
Oh, yeah, and we have seen
Or
that.
yourself.
We've seen that infants not even having a head covering are getting burnt.
Right.
Now those are not only are those people not smart people, they're morons. You don't want to take care of yourself. Okay, that's one thing. But if you've got an infant with you, cover them up. The
Yeah.
sun in Florida is brutal.
It is. It is.
Yeah, that's a good point, Darlene. And we have seen that firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is smart people wear comfortable shoes in the parks, not brand new sneakers or high heels. I've seen high heels on some people.
Spikes.
Yeah. Or people, because they want to look cool, wear, long pants, long sleeves, jacket, and it's the middle of summer or late spring. It's 80, 90 degrees outside.
Test your shoes out. Go out, take a mile walk. And why do I need to walk a mile? Because you're going to walk about 10 miles if you're walking around Epcot. So
Yeah,
go out for a long walk, see how your feet feel. Do you need new shoes?
Yeah, I would recommend if you buy new shoes you're going to bring to the park, wear them around the house for a week, take a long walk like Kurt had suggested, wear them for a couple of days too before you go, so you know.
Recommend.
And have more than one pair.
Yes, because if it pours down rain, you are going to thank us.
Yep.
So before you even go to the park, as soon as you've made your reservations, most people make the reservations, 9 months, 6 months out? Even if it's only 3 months out, start researching. Research now. What kind of research are we talking? Look at restaurants. Look at the menus of restaurants. Start thinking about what you want to eat, where you might want to eat. Ask people in your party what sounds good. Do the research before you get down there so that you're not surprised.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. John, I'm sure you've got a long list.
Well, one of the basics we didn't talk about is having My Disney Experience set up ahead of time. So
yes,
you need to have that set up for things like if you want to order Genie Plus, or you want to make dining reservations. If you do have Genie Plus and you want to arrange attractions, or for now you still have to reserve the parks. So having your account set up, being able to link your magic bands to it, if you have magic bands or you're going to get magic bands, having that all set up so you're not scrambling to do that when you get down there. So you want to have that all done ahead of time, as well as linking your family members together. So if you happen to get pictures, if you happen to get PhotoPass what's it called now? Memory Maker. If you happen to get that for one of the members of your family, then you get all of the pictures linked together as well. So having that all set up ahead of time, so you're not trying to figure it out. And like Kurt was saying, do the research on it ahead of time and have it ready to go.
Yep, absolutely. Anybody have anything else that they want to mention right now that's at the top of their list of things people should be doing there? Smart vacationers do.
Well, I think a smart vacationer plans a budget, so you know what to do. And one of the things for that budget that you can do is if you are a Target member or a BJ's member, a Sam's Club, Costco, you might be able to get Disney gift cards for your family members, especially the young kids, to go and shop at Disney. You could save a few dollars. Sometimes if a $25 gift card can get for $24 or $25 or 20, you get like $5 off of, most of them, 10 off of some of them. So, you'll have a little bit of a discount there. So
yeah, Target is 5%.
Oh, is it 5? Yeah, that's what
Mhm.
I thought.
I know Costco every year has, I think they do it a couple of times each year. They have special prices on Disney tickets or special discounts on Disney tickets.
Gift cards or tickets?
I'm sorry, for tickets.
Oh,
Maybe it is gift cards. I don't know. It's something like that. I know they give a discount on something. Sam's
I
not so
know.
much.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes they do that during Black Friday too. So.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we stack the gift cards and we use that to pay for food and souvenirs.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great way to stay on budget.
Yep.
Yeah. Another thing that we used to do with our kids, we told them we're going to give you X amount of dollars for the entire vacation. How you spend it is up to you. This way they're in control and they're learning how to budget themselves. Some kids better than others. um, and they're in control of what they buy for themselves. And we might give them a little bit of advice and say, well, do you really need this? Do you really want that? But you know what? When they were younger, we just let them do whatever they want. When they got a little older, we said, okay, is this impulsive because you just happen to see it, or do you want to save some money for something else? And then you have to tell them, well, you might not see it anywhere else either. So you have to play both sides of the fence.
Yeah.
Well, Lottie, when you say you stack your gift cards, do you mean you combine them onto one new gift card number, or what do you mean by stack?
Yes,
Okay.
actually,
Yeah.
we buy them over the course of the year. We know that we're going to go soon, and so every time we go to Target, we add a $25 gift card to whatever it is that we're purchasing. And then right before the trip, you can go to there's a website that's listed on the back of the card, and you can combine them all onto one card. But it's not so the ones at Target or wherever you get them from, they are a $25 card or they are a $100 card. So you can't stack those. So I keep the ones that I buy in the park, the ones that you put around your wrist for Food and Wine Festival. You can put up to $5,000 on those. And so, yes, that's what I
You
mean.
consolidate them, right?
Consolidate them all because we buy them if we know we're going to go to Disney. So we just buy them every time we go to Target. There's a drawer in the bedroom. We just fill it up.
Yeah. Those are things that if you've never been to Walt Disney World, you're going to be overwhelmed too. So any tips and tricks you can learn, do your research. I think that is like one of the most basic things that a smart Disney vacationer will do is do their research.
Well, I think it's interesting. I think at least this is true for me, but I think smart Disney fans also listen to other smart Disney fans.
Yep.
So listening to other podcasts or listening to I chat back and forth with my niece about Disney trips because we both do a lot of research and know what's going on. So and like we do here just amongst ourselves, we listen to other smart Disney fans, other smart Disney travelers, so that we're even better prepared and knowledgeable.
And research Disney attractions too. If you get motion, Stuart knows if he were to step foot on Galaxy Rewind, he's done for the day.
Yep.
So it's one thing. Stuart, again, he lives 20 minutes away, so his wife can drive him home while he's hanging his head in a protein bag. But if you're down there on vacation and that happens to you, your day is ruined.
It is. Yep.
Tickets aren't cheap for you to ruin your day over one attraction if you write it early. Do your research, find out what's good or what's not good as far as anything that you might have, motion sickness.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up tickets. If you're coming down here and, for those who may not be staying on property, maybe if you are staying on property, but you don't plan on spending every day in the parks, if you're buying single day tickets because you're not sure when you're going to be where, that can get very expensive. I would plan out your days way in advance that you're going to be in the parks or spend in the parks. And if you're going to be there for 3 or 4 days, get a 4-day pass if you're on property or if you're off property. Beware. Oh, here's another thing too, Darlene, you'll know about this. You see all these places that'll say big signs, cheap Disney tickets. Never ever go in there because they're all scams. It could be a timeshare that they're trying to sell you on, or something else, or they're just ripping you off with tickets that aren't valid tickets at Disney World.
Yeah, those are all scams. They've always been scams.
Mm-hmm.
I know people have tried to go to them, and it's a scam. It's when you're buying Disney tickets now, unless you're buying an annual pass, you're buying for a specific time of the year.
Yep.
It's sad when you see these like flashing signs, $39 Disney gift tickets or Disney gift tickets for the parks, and it's you can't believe those.
Nope, never. Then the same thing holds true with the merchandise. A lot of places will say, T-shirt. We've got Disney T-shirts, and they're cheaper, 50% off, or whatever it is. They're knockoffs for the most part. So you have to be careful of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. If you're staying in a resort, there are certain things I'm sure you guys know that you can do that will help make your resort stay even better. Online check-in. Don't wait till you get there.
Mm-hmm.
Out of curiosity, how far ahead of time, or when you're staying at a Disney resort and you're making the reservation, what time do you specify you're planning to arrive? Do you do it exactly the time you think you're going to be there? You do a little bit earlier? Because we know that you can wait for a while to get your room. I typically don't get in my room until 4 o'clock or even afterwards lately, but
that's what we usually say is 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Which is another thing that smart visitors do is they plan for that so that they don't lose time that day. So they've got a backpack, they've got the things the drinks, the bottles, snacks, and they plan, if you have whatever your transportation is going to be, if it's a rental car or you're going to use a bus or whatever, you plan to have your luggage taken care of, and you have a plan to get to where you want to be so that you don't rely on being in that room until later. You've got your medicine, you've got your sunscreen, you've got your hat, you've got your water and your water bottle, your camera, your phone fully charged, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, our upcoming trip, our flight actually gets in Orlando at 7:30 in the morning. That technically, if we were renting a car, is probably enough time to get us to the park right after rope drop. But can't get to the room at 4 o'clock. So you stop by, you get your stuff, take it to Bell Services, and then you head to the park.
Mm-hmm. That's what we used to do.
Yeah.
When we used to come down there, when we weren't living here, we would fly in. Magical Express is no longer there, so that option is gone. And we would stay on property the whole time. We would, totally immerse ourselves on Disney property.
Mm-hmm.
And we would be dependent on the transportation there because we didn't have a car. And, the bus service, it's tricky. If you're going to stay in the parks until they close, you're going to be waiting a long time. If your only means of transportation is the Disney buses, sometimes they come quickly, sometimes they don't. But if it's at the end of the day, you and everybody else staying within the resort section that you're on is going to be going to those buses at the same time. In the morning, it's a little easier. You can watch and see how the buses operate for a day or so till you figure it out. But you can kind of like judge and pick the times for the parks by watching how often the buses come in, how long it takes. It could be 10 minutes to Animal Kingdom that you have to wait if you get there at a certain time, 20 minutes. So pay attention, not just to your bus stop, but to the other buses that are coming into your bus stop. to see how often and when they come and how crowded they get. And that's another thing. On the weekends, what's the park that's usually the most crowded? It's usually the most crowded any day of the week, but really on the weekends, Magic Kingdom. Yeah. Never, if you're staying on property on vacation, never go to Magic Kingdom on a weekend if you can help it. Sometimes it's unavoidable, but it's pick a day during the week. A school of thought too is if there's a Halloween party at night at the Magic Kingdom, it's closing early. That's a great day to go to Magic Kingdom.
It is.
That's if you don't care if you miss the fireworks, because the park will be empty during the day.
Just don't go to the other parks that night.
Yes.
Because that's when everybody flocks out of Magic Kingdom and runs to Epcot.
Yeah. One of the things I have related to that is that experienced Disney travelers know what the busier parks are going to be for a given day. Through some of those things you talked about, or looking at crowd calendars, know what the busier parks are going to be, so that you're at least making an informed decision about where you're going, and you at least set your expectations before you get there.
Yep, absolutely. I'm trying to think. I know there was something else I wanted to mention. I can't remember. Oh yeah, this is not what I wanted to mention, but it's something else too. You cannot do everything on your own. It's really imperative that you get a season. When I say season, a knowledgeable, travel planner to help you. Someone who can make those dining reservations for you or assist you with them. Someone who can help explain Genie Plus to you, knows what resorts might be a good fit for you and your family based on the information you give them, and someone who could guide you to having a great vacation. If you don't want to walk into a travel agent or try to do it on your own and go, okay, this is where we're going to stay, and not know anything about it other than, oh, they have animals there. Well, yeah, maybe Animal Kingdom is a great place to stay, but then you have to think, okay, how much time is it going to take me to get to the parks from there? How much time are we actually going to spend there? So there's a lot that goes into it. If you're going down there with young children, I highly recommend you save your money and stay at a value resort, because you're never going to be there except to put your heads on the pillow to rest at night.
So I don't agree with that one.
Okay.
We don't do the value resorts because they're too small. You need a little bit more.
Oh, that's a good point. You're right. If you've got a family that's bigger than 4 or larger than 4, you cannot do the. Yeah, well, you can, but it's tight.
Even if,
or if you got 2 kids that are 6'2".
Yeah, even if they're 4, it's that those rooms are smaller than the other rooms on property. So if you've got more than 1 kid, you need to be at a moderate.
Well, we did it with 2 kids, and when they were younger, we did not have a problem. When they got a little bit older, we moved to a moderate resort, and then when they got even older, it was the higher end resorts.
Yeah. I mean, we're doing Art of Animation this time, but they got the Lion King suite. They got the family suites now, so you can get up to 6 people in there comfortably, and there are 2 bathrooms.
That's key for 5 people.
You have to have multiple bathrooms, or else no one's leaving on time, because everybody's fighting over the same space.
I like having 2 bathrooms any which way.
If you stay in a 2-bedroom villa, you get 3 bathrooms sometimes.
Nice.
Depending on the villa.
Kyle walked in almost on time and brought me a gift card from Target.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
Good job, Kyle.
I'm sorry. I'm a little distracted here. I'm having issue. I checked our upload speed because I can. For those of you who are watching this, I hope you can see everybody moving around. I can't. I can see myself moving around, and every now and then I see Darlene and Kurt. Lottie and John have been frozen most of the time.
Oh.
So on my end, but I also checked my upload speed, and it's not great here for some reason. I don't know what the problem is. But the upload speed for the show is not working great right now. which is
So
probably what. So
sorry.
hopefully
Everybody can hear us well
yeah.
and see us well on YouTube. I mean, another thing a smart person does is, plan out, if you want to if you're a person and a family that eats 2-3 meals a day, remember that the food portions at Disney, especially if you go to a sit down meal and you do a character breakfast, you might not be doing those three
Yeah.
meals a day. You might only do that one big meal and then get a snack at night. So don't book yourself over on sit down dinners or that, or make a plan to go to your
Mhm.
quick service that you want to go to another day.
Yeah.
Very true.
There's something that goes along with eating that I think that some of the smarter visitors do, and that is to save money. Look at splitting meals where you
Yes.
can, or doing appetizers,
Mhm.
or eating at lounges. So if you have trouble getting into certain places, there's a lot of times you can eat at a lounge and get some of the same food and have better availability. So there's
Space
things you can
220.
do around dining.
Yeah, Space 220 is great for that. Go
Yeah.
to the lounge instead of eating, a whole dinner, because I think that meal is prefixed, and
Yes, it is. Yeah.
the lounge is much cheaper, and it's the same experience.
Right.
Even Lottie and I did Brown Derby the one time,
We
and
did.
we got the remember they had the toned down Cobb salad in a cone and stuff. That was kind of cool. So yeah, you still get the experiences, and the food is just as good.
And if,
Tiffin's Nomad Lounge is another one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kitchen.
And if you get the big meal and you can't finish it, chances are you're not going to be able to take that with you anywhere. You don't, even if you have a refrigerator in your room, how likely are you to eat that the next day?
Right.
So if you get something smaller, appetizers, or split your meals, if you're hungry later on, you can always get yourself a snack. If you have this extra food, you're likely
You're not
going to
going to
waste
carry
it.
it around.
Yeah.
You're not going to carry that around the park.
No.
No.
Exactly. I don't even like coming home with leftovers here. Due to the fact that I'm in the park all day, it's all like I'm carrying around an ice pack cooler.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you have enough weight in there already with your batteries and your water bottles and your drinks and your hats and your sunscreen. Yeah.
Make sure. I just experienced my last trip up to my old hometown of West Seneca, New York, that my spare battery was on its way out. And I was staying in an older home, about 100 years old, and the electrical outlets were far and few between. So I was using that spare battery. Make sure those spare batteries charge your phone.
Yeah. Bring extra sync cables with you. Don't depend on one, because one may not last.
Right.
They do have, I know they used to, I think they still do, where you can purchase a battery pack for your phone.
Yes.
They're very expensive, though. That's a mistake that a non-seasoned Disney vacationer will make by not bringing one, and then they have to spend uber bucks to purchase one in the parks.
So those, I can't remember the name of them.
Fuel rod.
Fuel rods. You can buy those locally and then exchange them at the park. So that saves you money if you buy them ahead of time. You buy them and charge them, take them with you to the park, swap it out at the park. You're not paying for the high cost to purchase one. You just swap it out.
How much does it cost to swap it out?
I don't know. I'm gonna look it up right here. But
you can find, Amazon has them on sale every now and then. Anchor, which is a decent brand, for like $12 for 10,000 whatever it is to charge your phone, and they're pretty good. and they're pretty reliable.
Yeah, my phone is actually staying much better now than it was earlier today. I'm charging on that than it was on my regular cord.
The fuel rod itself on Amazon, there's a 2-pack for $35.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's more than $20 for one.
Right. Is there a transaction fee to exchange it at the park?
No, there was not. There used to not be. Because I had friends that did them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they're making their money off of selling them new. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. They're making the money off of selling them new. They cost $30 if you want to buy one at the park. So that was $34.99 on Amazon for two. $30 at the park if you want to purchase one.
Wow.
Almost twice as much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anybody else have anything else they want to mention on this?
Oh, go ahead.
No charge. There's no charge to swap.
No charge to swap. So you save the money ahead of time, and if it runs out, you don't have a chance to charge it yourself. You can just swap it out there at the different locations.
That's a good deal to do that.
Yeah, that is.
All of these things we've been talking about is thinking ahead of time.
Yes,
and being prepared. Yeah.
All right. That's why I said before, like the number one thing anybody can do really is research. You know, you do your research, you're prepared. Something I would tell you not to do, I'd be very careful who you're listening to on social media. There's a lot of disinformation out there. So I would tell you to stay away from social media. Try to stick with people people you can trust with your Disney, with Disney information.
Reliable.
Yeah. And everybody says they're an expert. Let me tell you this. There are people who know more than others, but nobody is a true expert. Some things, it's just your opinion. Some things, it's just a better way to do things that they've learned over the years themselves or through other people. So, I'm not saying to take it with a grain of salt because there's a lot of good advice out there, but be careful who you trust with that advice or who you're receiving.
Be wary of people who have inside information. It's not always true.
Oh, you can ask a cast member, and Darlene, I'm sure this has happened to you. It's happened to me. About, have you heard anything about this? And they'll give you a response, and then you ask another cast member, maybe 2 minutes later, somewhere else in the park, and you get a completely different response.
Yep.
Either they're pulling your leg, or they just don't know, or they think they know, and they're not sure.
Right.
Well, you're the only expert at what is good for you.
Yep.
So I had a very similar thing, and that is that go out and experience things yourself first before you listen to other people's opinions. It's good to be informed. It's good to listen to opinions, but don't act on those opinions until you've experienced it yourself. So whether it's dining, whether it's an attraction or a park or whatever, somebody else might not like it, but you might love it. So don't shortchange yourself.
Like Tony's Town Square.
And sci-fi dining.
Sci-fi dining, I was thinking. Yeah.
John, the problem with sci-fi dining isn't the food. It's the price of the food because you can get similar and just as good quality at Backlot Express, which is a counter service restaurant.
But you shouldn't let anyone's opinion stop you from doing it. Is all.
Look, I will say this about Sci-Fi Diner: if you've never been there, go once because it is an experience.
It is an experience.
It's not a comfortable experience for some people, but it is an experience.
It's fun. It's neat to see the old
clips.
Yeah, clips. I was trying to think of like films,
50s and 60s sci-fi movies.
Yeah. If you like 50s diners and stuff, you're gonna love it.
Yeah, but you know what the problem
I like that type stuff.
The problem I have with Sci-Fi Diner is you're paying for the cheap ambiance. Even though the ambiance is wonderful, I think they should figure out a way to make the seating in there more comfortable for the guests. Because you're paying a lot of money for the food that you basically get at Backlot Express.
Yeah, my uncle, we went with him years ago. He loved being there, but he's 6'4". He
Yeah.
hated
Oh,
sitting
jeez,
in
no.
those seats. He
Yeah.
was so
That's fine.
uncomfortable the entire time. And he
Yeah.
said, if it would have been okay if the food was great, but he was really uncomfortable.
Yeah. And Tony's Town Square, it depends on what you get there. There are some dishes that are decent, they're good, but there are others that are not so good. So you have to. It depends on your choice of food, and that goes with any restaurant, really. It's some are better at having quality all around than others, but in the Magic Kingdom, with few exceptions, they're trying to please a wide variety of palates, so they've got to cook a little differently than they might at a resort for guests because you've got a lot of kids in Magic Kingdom, and they're not going to go for some dishes that an adult might go for.
Well, I think this makes my point is different people have different opinions and different experiences. So you go out, be informed, do research, but ultimately make your own decision. And if you try something once and you don't like it, we all do that. And then we all have our preferences, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes our preferences are positive and sometimes they're negative. So,
I just thought of another great example. The restaurant in the Mexican Pavilion, I forgot the name of it offhand, San Angelin. Great ambiance. You're not going to find ambiance better than that restaurant anywhere. If you want to go on a romantic dinner or lunch with your special someone, that's a great place to go. But don't expect much from the food. And if you look at reviews online, it is universally panned for not having great food. But the place always sells out. And I would highly recommend the restaurant if you want a romantic setting. If you're looking for something that will set the scene for whether you want to get engaged to somebody or something like that. I mean, it's a great place to go.
Won't be able to see the ring, but
well,
The
the seats are too close together too.
Yeah.
They pack too many tables in there. So
not really
if
romantic.
you want to have a romantic evening with yourself and with the couple next to you.
I was just saying, here, can you take a selfie of us, please?
You're reaching too far. They're like right here.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
I would rather get something from the outdoor pavilion and then go and stand on the bridge and eat it together.
But I think you guys are making John's point. That it's everybody's got different tastes, and what might be crowded to some may be fine for others.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Now, one of the things we've all talked about individual things. We talked about water bottles. We talked about packing your sunscreen. We didn't talk about packing a poncho, but bring some kind of poncho or rain jacket or something. Now, how are you carrying all this mess? Pack a backpack. Make sure it's a comfortable backpack, because we thought we had this nice backpack that, look, it's compact, it'll all fit in there. And it had the rope shoulder straps. Hey, when you're packing in the hours in a hot, sweaty Florida sun, you don't want those ropes. Even though the pads, when you put them over your shoulder, are going to leave sweat marks, but it's a heck of a lot more comfortable than doing those ropes over your shoulders. So pack a comfortable backpack and just be careful. Don't overload it, because you're going to be passing it around and everyone's going to have to carry it. If you are staying at a resort that's got a freezer, see if you can find, they make water bottle ice cube makers where they're only about this big around and they're about that long. And you can shove those all in your water bottle, and they keep your water bottle colder. And then as that's sitting on your backpack, if it's a regular water bottle, it'll start to thaw, because your back's going to cause it to sweat and stuff. So that's why the brittle water bottles, like I was talking about with Lottie, they now make, it's an aluminum bottle, not just the plastic ones. They last longer. My wife's is in the kitchen. I'm not going to go out and get it.
I know. I have one. Like, it was just here a minute ago.
Mm.
I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah, I just washed my wife's. I know it's sitting right there in the kitchen. I'm not going in to get it. So, but Lottie, have an example in just a minute.
I'm trying to get a kid to go get one, but they've been incredibly loud, and now they can't hear me.
Of course.
Trying to think. Plan your day strategically. I know most smart travelers know that they can go back to the resort. They can go take their kids swimming or just to take a nap and then go back to the park or go to dinner somewhere at Disney Springs or play, mini golf. There's a ton of things that you could do while you're there.
Yep.
So
Something else Darlene, you brought up a good point. If you're staying off property and you don't have transportation, or you decided you're going to take the hotel's bus to the parks that they provide there, and it may be free and it may be cheaper for you to stay there. They only run certain times of the day. It's not like back and forth like Disney, where you might have a little bit of a wait, but you might have to, there's one bus that leaves at 10 o'clock at night. And if you miss that, you're going to take an Uber back.
Right.
So I would, go ahead.
I was going to say, kind of going along the lines with what Darlene was talking about with, go back, take a rest. Know your limitations. Don't plan and do Epcot at the beginning of you're kind of stuck where you're going to put Epcot at. If you put Epcot in the beginning of your trip, that's a 12-mile day. If you go back and hit the World Showcase twice, now all of a sudden the next day you can barely move. You have to be careful, plan accordingly. Don't overdo it in the beginning. By the end of your trip, we literally have put in 60 miles on a trip, on a 5-day trip before. You got to make sure you're in shape for that. Start training early for it so that you're ready to go, because it is not easy. It's like, we're just going to go walk around the parks. We're going to sit on the attraction. It's not that big of a deal. You will be exhausted. If you've got one of those portable massagers, the shark burner ones that beat you up, bring it. Your calves will thank you.
Yeah. I used to do that. I used to take walks on lunch before we were coming to Disney. After the first couple times I went, I was exhausted with all the running we did. And I started walking before we would, go to Disney, just so my legs, you're right, in shape, and those shoes, you can have a pair of shoes too, if they're too old, that are worn out and you don't have cushioning in them, those are going to become uncomfortable and you might need moleskin for your feet. So that's one thing I'm going to suggest is that too, not too old of shoes.
And know what the shoes are made out of, because I once there's a brand of shoe that has some kind of a form-fitting. It basically feels like you're walking on a magic eraser. They're just foam in the bottom.
Memory foam?
Memory foam. And I swear the first day we were there, the deluge hit. We had to walk through a puddle. The shoes were no good. That was it. They were done. So completely destroyed the shoes on the very first day. Luckily, I had a pair of backup shoes because they were no good.
Yeah.
I at least have 3 pairs of shoes when I go on vacation.
Yeah, something that you could do in the day. Most people don't buy newspapers anymore. They would bring newspaper with them and shove it in their shoes if they would get wet in the parks, because it would dry it out quicker. But that's become a thing of the past now with newspapers.
I beg to differ. I do see paper along my route when I'm walking Cogsworth.
Yeah, but not too many people get newspapers anymore.
No.
Can I just stick my digital computer in there? That's where I read my newspaper now.
I've often used hair dryers in the resorts.
Yeah.
If there's some clothing that I had to rinse out or shoes that got wet, to at least take some of the moisture out and then they're easier to dry overnight or whatever. So I've used hair dryers quite a bit for those kinds of things in the rooms before.
Good idea.
I'm going to throw this tip out there. It's been a while since I've done it, but smart travelers, if you think that you might want to do laundry while you're at the resort, while you're sitting at the pool one day because you need something, or you have kids that have accidents or something, it's always good to put some laundry detergent on a couple washcloths before you leave. Let them dry, put them in a Ziploc so you can throw those in the wash, and you'll have your laundry soap.
Yeah, something else.
Pods work great. The pods work great too.
Oh yeah,
Tide pods.
yeah.
Something else guests can do, smart guests will do, they'll bring those packing cubes with them. So you might be able to fit certain things for your children in one, or, separate things. So, because space is limited in the resort rooms. And having the packing cubes, I think, really helps because everything's organized and you're ready to go. So when your kids get up in the morning and you want to get out of there, here's your outfit, get going.
Yeah.
The packing cubes are great for, if you do it right, for saving space in the suitcase, which you're going to need.
Yeah,
save some space so you can get home. You can get all the stuff you bought home. Or smart people have it shipped directly to their house. And they don't.
Very true.
Yeah. Yep.
Very true.
I actually bring a hand scale when I check a bag. I bring a hand scale because if we buy some things, which we always do, and my suitcase is heavier than it was when I came down, I know that it's still going to be within the weight limit for whatever the airline I'm using.
And smart people also sometimes, if they only come down with 2 pieces of luggage and one of them's a carry-on, one's a check, they stick another bag in so they can check a second bag.
An expandable bag, yes. Or a fillable bag.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else have anything?
I have actually had to buy a suitcase down in Florida.
We've done that too. I can't say.
Yep. My first Mickey suitcase was bought at the theme. Well, it was at Port Orleans French Quarter because for whatever reason we thought we could get down there on one suitcase and realized, this was not smart.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, so even us experienced and intelligent travelers don't always do the smartest thing. I did the same thing. I've got a Mickey Mouse suitcase, a carry-on that I've used quite a bit now since I brought it home.
Yeah, you learn from your mistakes, but if you can prevent some of those mistakes by listening to, I'm not talking about us, by listening to people who've been there and done that, by all means, it'll help you out. Yeah.
There you go. There's another show idea. What is the stupidest thing you've ever done?
Yes, there we go. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Learn from our mistakes.
Or the craziest things you've seen in the parks.
I don't know if I can podcast that. I told you guys that story.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can podcast that.
Yeah, I don't know if Darlene, were we with you when we saw this? But it's just, it goes back to, a parent with a child, no sunscreen, and one of those those front, I don't know what they call them, baby packs where they're holding them, with
the carriers.
Yeah,
the carriers
are just
wrapped.
completely uncovered, and it's just that's torture for these children.
Yeah, I used to I remember Ava and Charlotte being in the wrap carrier, and we always just put a hat on their heads. It's not difficult. Put a hat on their heads, or when they were little, you just took their feet on the inside of the carrier and keep them from getting sunburned.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you who've never been to Disney and you don't know that there's a lot of sun in the parks, they call Florida the Sunshine State for a reason.
They do.
Anyway, if anybody's got anything else they want to mention, now's the time because I'm about to end the shenanigans.
Well, one thing that when we've talked about being prepared, and one of the things that I think that smart travelers do is they understand what their transportation options are wherever they are, whether they're at a park or they're at their resort or they're at another resort. They know whether it's served by buses or by boats or the Skyliner or a ferry or smaller boats, but or knowing that you can get Uber or minivan or Lyft, but understanding what your transportation options are is important because, as we all know, Disney World is distributed. The parks are spread out, the resorts are spread out, Disney Springs, the water parks, all of those places you have to take transportation to get from one place to another. So monorail, understanding what your transportation options are ahead of time is what the smart travelers do.
Absolutely.
And pack your patience. Pack your patience.
Yeah.
It's
The
not
lines will be long. People are
young
saying
children will scream whether they're yours or not.
I've spoken to quite a few people that live in my community here, and they've gone on different days over the last couple of weeks. And we even had an experience where Epcot was Magic Kingdom. We went to Magic Kingdom last week. It was dead. And other people say, well, we were in Animal Kingdom and we couldn't move. So it depends on the park. It depends on when you're going. And sometimes it's luck. Sometimes it's paying attention to the crowd levels that people keep track of. Touringplans.com is a great source for historical crowd levels for each day of the year. Now it's become, I think, a little more difficult to, since COVID, because things in the parks are changing. Genie Plus has certainly changed that. If you're purchasing Genie Plus, you're still gonna have to wait to get on the attractions. It's not going to be like, oh, let me just walk right in here. So take everything into account. Get as much information as you can. Now, can you possibly overload yourself with information?
You
Yeah.
can.
So I think it's important that you do your research and then try to narrow down from the information you're receiving, like what looks better than the other, what fits you and your situation better than some of the others. Rely on your travel agent. If your travel agent gives you, I don't know, I'm not sure, too often, then you don't have the right travel agent. It's okay for a travel agent to say, you know what, let me get the answer for you, and then get back to you with the answer in a relatively decent period of time. It's not right when you have a travel agent who just say, I don't know, and they're not willing to find the information out for you. You're not paying them directly, but they're getting a commission off of your trip. And, you should get the most out of your trip. You're paying a lot of money to go to Disney World. Don't settle for anything less than the best. There's a reason, that we recommend Mouse Fan Travel, because we know how great a job they do for their customers. And you might be able to find another travel agent out there, not associated with Mouse Fan Travel, that could do similar or the same things. But it's important you pick the right one, whoever it is. And they're going to guide you in how you should do your research as well. They're not going to do everything for you, nor should they. But they can put you on the right track to making the most out of your vacation and doing it the best way you possibly can. And always have a plan B and C and D, because things don't always go as planned, no matter how much you plan and plan well. All right. Anything else, guys? Or is it time to get out of here? All right, we're going to get out of here now. Look, I do want to mention this for, my family. Thank God my family's safe in Israel. For friends, for people that we don't know, the entire country, it's our hearts and prayers and thoughts are all with everyone in Israel. So until, hopefully there are better days ahead. You know, going to Disney World is supposed to be a magical vacation. Well, going anywhere in the world should be magical. And we need to get back to that. So until next time, everybody, be safe, be yourself. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
See you real soon.
Well, we've been here trying to help people see the light and be better informed. So I'm going to have to share. And at last I see the light, and it's like the fog has lifted. Well, we hope that we helped you to lift the fog a little bit and that you'll come back with us next week and see the light again with us. See you next week.
Have a magical night. Stay safe. And please pack your sunscreen and a poncho. And hit that like button so we don't get rid of me.
Darlene.
Well, yeah, I didn't mention that tonight.
Good night.